Dan Shonka, welcome back to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I hope you're doing well, sir.
I am, and I tell you what, you're still wired up in that national championship, so that's got to carry on through next year, Ryan. Congratulations to you guys and all the Alabama fans. It's probably the most exciting national championship that Alabama's won. But hey, even the head man was pretty excited about that one.
Well, no doubt. And you look at Nick Saban's reaction. I mean, that's similar to this reaction. You don't know you miss it until it's almost gone. And we had to wait for a week to see if the committee was going to put Alabama in, and then sort of living through that Clemson game and getting through the Georgia game. And then you realize, man, Alabama's about to get their head beat in by the Dogs. And then the bounce back at halftime and the change at quarterback and the fresh air that was breathed in this program.
How about we talk about the grit? I don't know any coach that would do what Nick Saban did on making that quarterback switch at halftime. I mean, you know, putting the fresh. Of course, they saw him every day in practice, saw him develop all year, and you know, they had a lot of confidence in his accuracy, and boy, it sure paid off.
Let me ask you, and I want to pick your brain from a couple different standpoints. What do you see in a quarterback in Jalen Hurts? Can he get to the NFL as a quarterback?
You know, I tell you, my initial reaction would be no, because there's two things that, you know, a quarterback must have to play in the NFL. I mean, if he's got to be accurate and he's got to make great decisions, you know, and Jalen just, you know, his accuracy's all over the place. And I tell you, Ryan, I really believe that when you're a little kid falling out of bed and going outside and you know, throwing rocks, you know, at a tree, or whether you're in a snowy climate, making snowballs and smacking the fender of a car right where you wanted it. I think it's a lot of it's a natural. You can improve, but I think it's natural. And I just can't. A guy can improve, like I said, some, but I tell you what, you've got to have it. It's almost got to be innate.
Let me ask you, and I know we're way ahead, but just looking at the raw skills, the spin of the football, the arm, the instincts. I know he's a little short. He may not be that guy that's 6'3", but the youngster in Tua Tagovailoa, does he grab your attention as a guy that you want to kind of keep on the radar 3 years from now?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, hey, I don't mind those short quarterbacks because our top guy is, you know, Baker Mayfield, and then Drew Brees. I did a school call on him when I was with the Eagles, and now I gave Drew a second-round grade at that time, but you know, and then Russell Wilson, I gave him a second-round grade when he came out too. So, but I had disclaimers on Wilson. I said, hey, if he's 2 inches taller, I'd put him in the first round, and I guess I lost my guts and put him in the second. I should have put him in the first, but no, that as long as he's accurate, and of course the way he moves in that pocket, and I mean the things that he did, slipping tackles and things like that, and yeah, he made a couple errors. He took that bad sack and this and that, but you know what? Boy, the amount of errors he made for a guy with basically no experience was remarkable. So yeah, hey, he's going to be definitely in the mix now. I mean, he's so exciting with the way he could throw that ball and with his arm strength. I think that, yeah, he's going to be a live one here for the next few years.
Well, you're talking to Dan Shonka. The website's ourlads.com. Ourlads.com. It's an NFL scouting services. It's a comprehensive book that I know that we'll be featuring a lot, talking about the NFL draft as we make our way. Let me ask you, and I've asked you this question before, but it seems like another year, another draft prospect, many possibly projection in the first rounds. When you get a Nick Saban player, knowing the way that he coaches in Tuscaloosa, do you have to calculate, has this player already reached his ceiling? When you look at other coaches, maybe they don't get that much out of their player, and you get a guy and you go, hey, he's here, but I think I can get him to here. In Tuscaloosa, a lot of these guys might be a little maxed out.
Well, I tell you, there's no question that the guys are, I mean, they're coached NFL caliber the whole way while they're there. And, yeah, I think they can elevate their game in the NFL because, you know, as strong as the SEC is, now they're going up with the best of the best everywhere. And I think the big thing is that Nick recruits competitors, and these guys compete. at a big-time level. I mean, a guy like Minkah Fitzpatrick, when he comes out, I would expect him to be a Pro Bowl caliber player. Now, we moved him back to corner. We had him at safety all year, but I moved him back to corner because I thought he'd be the best corner in this draft, and he's the best safety in this draft. So, you can put him anywhere there, and he's going to be a starter and a Pro Bowl caliber player. So, because of his great competitiveness and his versatility. So, and that's the thing about a lot of the Alabama players that you see, you can mix them and match them a lot of different positions and things like that. Offensive linemen, they can play 3 positions, or, the defensive backs or the linebackers can play, all the positions, or the wide receivers, return guys, and also a receiver, so their versatility really helps them, make it in the next level too. But no, I think, some guys probably do hit a level, but you know what? That level's okay. They can go in and start.
Let me ask you, when you look at Minkah Fitzpatrick, what is the ceiling as far as draft pick for him?
I'll tell you what, I really like him. I mean, he's a top 5 guy in my mind. It's just, I think the thing that will skew things is the people taking quarterbacks, and that would knock him down a little bit. Now, if people go crazy and do something stupid like take Josh Allen, or Sam Darnold, I think both those guys are way, over their skis, right? They're a long ways of being, on the field. When you could take a Pro Bowl guy, you look at Barkley, the running back from Penn State. Here's a guy that's a top 5 guy in my mind. Minkah Fitzpatrick is a top 5, player in my mind, and I could see. I've been on Cleveland radio a lot. And, I'm kind of pushing Minkah that 4 spot for them because they need a corner safety kind of guy, and or one or the other position. And so, I could see him maybe the top end, maybe being the 4th pick in the draft. But those quarterbacks are going to go up there, and not because they deserve it, but so that would knock Minkah down a little bit. But whoever gets him is going to get a great player in my mind.
Let me go to Calvin Ridley. I know his catches were limited this year. They've been breaking in a new quarterback for the last couple of years. Maybe the catches that you don't see in a typical, throw it all over the field type offense. But where do you see Calvin Ridley fitting in this NFL draft?
Yeah, we got him he'll be going in the first round. Now, we haven't put up, we don't do mock drafts and all that stuff that early. And our after the Senior Bowl now, we'll put up our top 50 here before long. But, because we like to zero in on all the all-star games and see where these guys fit and stack, and then how the juniors fit in with them. But, Ridley's our second-rated receiver right now, and he's going to be a first-round guy, I believe. But I think that he may end up going in that bottom third of the first round. It's just a matter of, who wants to pull the trigger on him because of that speed, his explosiveness. So I'm going to say that bottom third, Ryan.
Dan, when you look at Daron Payne, obviously he is a guy that is just a tremendous athletic ability. From his size, his perspective, I mean, we've seen him, pick up fumbles and interceptions and things like that. I mean, big Daron Payne, no doubt a first rounder. You see him as a longtime NFL guy?
Yes, he's our top defensive tackle, and what's impressive about him is he's the top of a really, really strong and deep group. There are some really good defensive linemen this year, and in fact, I'll tell you how good they are is there were some of the guys that were in the Senior Bowl the other day that were playing, get one gap guys and things like that, like Poona Ford, for instance. Well, Poona Ford was actually the 3rd or 4th best defensive lineman at the East-West game, so I like that. And, it just tells you the depth of the interior. Some of those guys are a little short, but if you talk about a one gap, you get them in the right scheme, and their quickness and explosiveness is just unbelievable. And then, Daron Payne is our top guy. You got the Harrison Phillips out there, Christian Wilkins from Clemson, Vita V from Washington, Tim Settle from Virginia Tech, guy's 6'3", 335. I mean, Devon Bryan from Florida, Maurice Hurst from Michigan. I mean, you can go right on down the line, and I mean, B.J. Hill from North Carolina State. There's some terrific defensive linemen, and we think Duran's the best of all of them.
We're talking to Dan Shonka, ourlads.com. When you look at this, obviously, this draft pool, Rashaan Evans is another guy that's being in the first round mentioned as far as the conversation. You think he's a first-round guy?
Well, I think he can get in there. Now, the thing that, like I said, messes stuff up was the quarterbacks. Because what happens is everybody kind of gets pushed out, and then, this ton of juniors that came out. So, some people are going to look at that and say, well, okay, we got Tremaine Edmonds from Virginia Tech. He's 6'4", about 250. He runs 4.6 something. He's going to be in that mix. But then after that, all bets are off. So I could see Evans, being in there as long as everybody thinks, because he had an excellent year this year, no question about it. I think he really helped his stock, and he had a terrific senior year and everything. And I think that if teams think that he's a 3-down linebacker, or you can call him a 4-down guy, he's going to play special teams. But if he can cover, because, hey, on Sunday you look out there and you see these 4-2-5 defenses, he's got to be one of those 2 linebackers that never come off the field. If teams think he can do that, then he's a lock first-round guy.
Dan, let me ask you, Dynasty's good for college football, good for the NFL. Patriots continue to win. Alabama continues to win. You're a guy that loves the game of football, both college and the pro. Is Dynasty's good for the overall health of the sport?
Yes. I think that what it does, if you're a competitor, everybody's going after New England. Everybody's going after Alabama. And when you play teams, I think it's a great thing, because, I mean, to me, if Alabama wouldn't have been the top 4, it would take a little bit of luster, and you really wonder if the best teams were there, So, no, I think, and it gives everybody something to shoot for. I mean, everybody wants to knock off Alabama. Alabama gets the best shot every week, from the weakest teams to the strongest teams. They get the best shot of that opponent every single week. And I think that's why Nick recruits so many, great competitive guys, because that's what you're going to see. You're going to see that great competitiveness, and I think that it's great when you do that. Hey, when the Yankees are hot, you want to see the Yankees hot. Except for the Boston people don't, but they want to see. But I think dynasties are good. Back every decade in the pro football, you had the Dallas Cowboys, you had the Steelers, you had, the 49ers, all the way through. And you wanted to see, of course, now, just in the Packers way back in the 60s, they were a dynasty then. And then, of course, now New England is that. But you know what? That's the team. Everybody loves to hate. But you know what? When they win, they say, "Oh man, I knew they could do it." Except for the Eagle fans won't be saying that. But so I think that dynasties are really good for certainly in pro and college football.